Books you won't put down. Grab the House of Lazenberry series by author Daniel Webb. Since his controversial interview at the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, the books can't stay on the shelf. Grab the series, The House of Lazenberry, The House of Lazenberry 1970H, and The House of Lazenberry, A Time to Heal. Link in the description box now. Promote your brand here at Viral Hip Hop News. Email me, Sam Ant at thehiphopnews.com. No, wait, let's go.
Out of those two. Now, we've learned throughout this interview, we've talked to you now for about an hour and some change, that you own businesses, that you threw parties, that you were a producer, had a hair salon, a detail shop, you were a manager, right? You Google Kevin Hunter's name and you don't see any of that. The narrative is so negative, and the narrative that is steered towards your name is so negative. And I'm sure everybody that's written articles or said videos, anything like that, they haven't met you or had the opportunity to speak with you the way we are. They're going off of what they've heard. As a human being, how does that make you feel?
Well, you know what? It's crazy. I am at a different level of my life. I do subscribe. I have subscribed to coming from an era where you don't say a whole lot of shit. You let your work speak for itself. Unfortunately, through the crisis that kind of came about, and the real crisis that is the problem. Like, yeah, on the surface, when you look at the Google, you see a lot of what people's perceptions in the narrative is. But the real deal is that there's a whole nother issue as to why Kevin was quiet. Kelvin Hunter. I want to correct you. I'm Kev. People know me as Kev. My legal name is Kelvin Hunter. I've embraced that in my second level of life. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, my son's name is Kevin, and I'm Kelvin. My mom's name is Kelvin. But at the root of all of that, and what people try to cover up, you know, including the from production companies, whatever, is someone that's suffering on a level that we could not even imagine. It's just, there are people that can imagine it because they're going through it, and it is a disease. And I was very respectful to, even though my actions, I take full accountability for, you know, how I move. I'm not going to, there's no regrets. You know, there's sorrow for the fact that you got two people that kind of fell out of love and was going for something, but was not protecting their foundation. And that's unfortunate. But what you see and how it's being perceived and what I'm speaking on now is because I'm finally realizing that if I don't speak and try to define this story, that people are going to keep thinking, and, you know, the hordes of women who are upset for many reasons because they looked at us, you know, as a sort of iconic situation, and that's cool. You know, if you followed it, you know, that's great. But there's a lot of components. And when I look at the Google, you know, I had people come to me like 2-3 years ago and was like, you know, for $75,000 or whatever, we wipe your Google. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Shit. You know, my past is my past for a reason. I don't regret it. Like, I came from Brownsville, Brooklyn, with a 10th grade education and a GED. And I come from a place where you come outside, you get killed. Now, I done maneuvered my way through all kinds of shit. Thank God. My heart is pure. My soul is still pure. I don't sleep with any demons. I don't, you know, I've been through some shit. And when I look at what people try to print and whatever, you know what I'm saying? I told the dude, nah, my past, I'm proud of it. I'm not going to stop. I'm, you know, whatever that was, I can change that through my movements that I do now. You know what I mean? And I wish that I had a little bit more cooperation from the people or the person that, you know, we should have had a lot of more respect throughout the situation, you know what I'm saying, so that certain things didn't land the way they land. But, you know, the worst thing a person can do to you is take your credit. And what you see when you look at that Google is that, you know, you don't see the credit given. You know what I'm saying? They take a black man's credit regardless. Like, I'm just one example of it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I look at the person that discovered Good Times or all these other shows, and, you know, you see Norman Lear up there, but you don't realize the struggle, what it took to really, you know, develop the programming. And I know what I did for that house. You know, regardless of what people think, I lived in that house for 35 plus years, or let me correct myself, 25 plus years. I helped design and redefine. The house was not worth what it's worth now. And you know what? You ain't got to give me that credit. You know what I'm saying? But I'll pat myself on the back, and I have no problems to say that through my Hunter Publishing Company, which, you know, we putting out, and we have put out Tamika Scott's cookbook, Cooking with Tamika Scott, which is doing exceptionally well, available on Amazon, Target, Ingram. We're getting Barnes and Nobles. We're doing the second leg of her tour, and it's doing great. She's a beautiful spirit. We're getting ready to put out the Larry Davis story as told through his widow, which is a very provocative and compelling story. There's a lot of things that we still don't know about Larry, and you know, this is the first. With all the people that's trying to do stories of Larry Davis, we have 1,000 pieces of documentation as provided by his wife that detail a lot more than just him jumping out that window during that historical shootout. Like, you know, he was under a lot of pressure by NYPD from age 13. You know, they had Larry trafficking. It was a lot. And I'm proud to say that, you know, I'm representing the author that does that. I do have a restaurant, Loretto NYC, Italian Kitchen and Bar in Brooklyn. I'm blessed to have been able to open that at the top of pandemic, and it's still doing, you know, we surviving where a lot of places have closed. We're going to open up another restaurant, Stush NYC, in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, you know what I mean, which is a Caribbean vegan restaurant. I've been vegan for 10 plus years. I eat a little snap every now and then. I'm gonna keep it 100. You know, I eat a little fish every now and then, but that's the only fish I eat. No shellfish that rots in your stomach. And I try to live a more righteous side of life, and I've changed greatly since then. So, you know, the narrative of what you've been seeing is only because I've allowed it to be that, and with respect to the parties involved. But you know what? My daughter's 3. I'm grateful that you guys even reached out. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't go looking for no interviews. I've in the midst of all the bullshit happening, I didn't really want to talk about a lot of things, and I think that this was definitely done in a tasteful manner, and we covered a lot of things. But I am the controller of my own destiny. I feel like whatever you read on that Google, and, you know, if anybody that goes and wipes their Googles, thinking that, you know, you can wipe your history. Your history is your history for a reason. Your past is your past. I learned from every one of my mistakes. I've turned all my mistakes into, for the most part, into learning experiences so that I realize how to move righteously and move right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so, you know, and a lot of that is also you seeing a whole ass 2 companies, Lionsgate and Debmar Mercury, wanting to change the narrative and not give some. And I don't want to hide behind all this racist, everybody racist. No, this is the reality. The reality is a black man that wasn't part of a community of emasculated, mostly emasculated men and women in the TV industry. I was not part of that community. I didn't come in there from another show. I came in there like from the grit. And no, I didn't know that side of production, absolutely. But guess what? I knew how to produce my peoples better than anybody. And in terms of adapting what to do in a situation, I think you put most proficient real dudes in situations that have had experience from whether they come from the street or whatever. Most street dudes are executives in the making, and you don't even understand it. And I jumped into that situation and looked at the opportunity, and I rocked out. And there's a lot of people that didn't want to see me rock out. And I've had situations set up within my tenure of doing that show where people have tried to bait me to be the aggressive black man, the angry black man. I was painted as the angry black man going out. I couldn't go. I was the only executive. I couldn't go retrieve my items from my office because all of this or what they thought I was going to do. And I didn't do shit. I sat back and watched. I squatted like Khalif and just watched. And it's clear that by removing this one domino piece off the board, tens of millions of dollars was lost. The reality of it is they would not have had a Nick Cannon show or the thought of it if it wasn't for my suggestion. Because I told them to go get Nick while we was going through our whole situation and had to deal with rehab situations. So I'm like, look, go get Nick, let him fill in. Whatever Nick parlayed that into, that's great. I celebrated that. Did they know how to ultimately produce Nick? What they should have did instead of firing me over a personal reason or whatever, or firing me because I got a divorce, was pull a black man in and say, look, Kev, you kind of put us on to this, and we want to know how you think we should go about it. We try to have a Nick Cannon show in Harlem, and they're not black. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. But on paper it looked good. So I take credit for that. I take credit for the fact that, they did not know how to maneuver a lot of situations dealing with that show. And the credit that they try to take from me again, they would not have had the tenure that they had, the tens of millions of dollars, or I don't even want to say how much money was made over 10 years, but the tens of millions of dollars that was lost because they moved that one domino piece is clear. And it's unfortunate that at the helm of that is somebody that I was personally with, but it was not my decision to, see it go that way. You know what I'm saying? They could have handled that in a whole different manner. And I think that they would have handled it in a different manner if it was a different situation and a different set of people. But that's a whole nother situation. But, I'm proud of what I am and what I'm about to do. And in terms of the production side and the events producing side, I still produce events. Last year, this time, I did a huge concert down here in Miramar, Florida, the Wild Phone Yankee Fitted Fest with Nas, Goody Mob, Ludacris, and Fabulous, and catered to about 4,000 or 5,000 people. And I'm loving the trajectory of redefining not just that Google, but my whole narrative as I see it. And you guys are one of the first stops. Well, my friend Choke was the first stop, but y'all, I'm veering into these waters because I realize that that my insight, is requested and needed, and I'm kind of humbly and graciously appreciative. You know what I'm saying? I show a humility with the fact that anybody even cares about what I think, because my focus was just me, my family, and taking this shit to where I got to take it. And it's still my family. My current family to date is the most important thing. And I still have family. I don't look at it as not being family. I'm at the epicenter of all of this shit. And so when you see the whole onslaught of press and what they're trying to tear me down to look like, it's 'cause they don't want, even including the movie. Like, and just a sidebar, and I know y'all gotta go. When the movie and everything was being made, instead of them taking that instead of Lifetime, who I've done a ton of business with, prior to them doing the movie, and even when we was trying to do a movie and I was there, they was trying to shortchange the situation. But when the controversy came, they wanted to run with it. Like all the inaccuracies and what they try to portray in the movie, instead of celebrate a person who was the internet before the internet, was the whole what they missed, and then taking a whole nother hour to have a bunch of executives and people talk about me and what I really meant to the situation, going deep for that just lets me know, damn, I must have really struck a nerve with all y'all motherfuckers. I must have really been doing it. And I needed to take time out to assess it and realize what it was. But, I don't, I'm not going to back down from shit. That's what coming from Brownsville makes the most, like, it defines me in that matter. You can't really ruin a motherfucker that come from the mud and had to live up for $10, $20 a day for real.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. So whatever, I ain't kill nobody. Like, I ain't kill nobody. I ain't rape nobody. You know what? Out of all the shit that they try to put out there, ain't nobody jump out the window and say, yo, Kev did this, Kev did that. Kev did this to me. I wish I had more people who I helped stepped out and say, look, nah, that nigga really. And I've had them behind the scenes tell me, but, it'd be nice to see people really represent what I put myself on the line for them. But it's cool. And I'm not going to look. You're not going to see the last of me die within those headlines. I promise you that. And I ask you to pray for my entire family, because it is rough, and it is a lot of people trying to pull strings behind the scenes to make it look whatever. I promise you, regardless of what, I'm gonna come out ahead, and you're gonna see. And this is part of it right now. This is the product of it right now. Me being here talking to you is like one of the biggest moves as I take towards my life and redefining my story. And you will see more of the story in terms of a book, in terms of something. I'm working it out with my team. It's not at the top of my list because I'm trying to put some more points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just be the person that relishes in being somebody's ex-husband, even though that's going to be a hard title to shake. And I wear my tenure with that person proudly. But Kev got a whole nother life and lane that he's about to, put down. And hopefully the people that stay tuned, they'll be with it. They'll see. You know what I'm saying? They'll see where I'm at. They never got to see where I'm at.
Indeed.